It is time for the Festival of the Holidays at Epcot, and I'm here on opening day to try all of the food. In this video, I'll be sharing 100% honest reviews of over 25 food and drinks. And at the end, I'll let you know my top 5 must-try foods from the fest, and I'll fill you in on some of the foods I would definitely skip. This is the ultimate foodie guide to Epcot's Festival of the Holidays. The holidays are finally here, and that means another year of the Festival of the Holidays. And just by looking over the menus, there aren't as many new offerings as I would like to see. We've got a lot of repeat menu items, but I'm gonna try and change things up this year. Get things I normally don't order, of course, try all of the new things, and also some returning favorites. Let's start with a stop at Favorites of Festivals Past. So given this booth is called Favorites from Festivals Past, you would think that there are some really good returning menu items that we probably haven't seen in a while, but can anyone let me know if any of this stuff is actually like returning from previous festivals? Because I personally, I don't know if it was just before my time, but I have not seen any of this stuff that's on the menu. So weird name for a booth that I don't even know any of this food. But like I said, maybe I'm just missing something. So let me know down below in the comments, but I did have to get a clean sweep of this booth because all of this stuff is new to the Festival of the Holidays, or at least new to me. So we got everything to try. Let's start by digging into these Reuben croquettes. They have pastrami, sauerkraut, and Swiss cheese served with a Thousand Island dipping sauce. Guys, I am so excited to break into these here. These look and smell phenomenal. Okay, we've got a mini little cheese pull there. We'll see how this tastes. Wow, as a sauerkraut lover, these are delicious. The outside is really nice and super crispy. It's also seasoned very well. They put a dusting of like flaky salt on top, and I think it's the perfect touch. The sauerkraut mixed with the cheese and the pastrami, and there's definitely quite a bit of cheese in here. I was a little worried that it was gonna be a little bit like dry, you know, and not cheesy, but that is definitely not the case here. Man, this is really good. Well, if these actually are a favorite from festivals past, I understand why, and I understand why they brought them back. Man, first food at the fest. I'm a huge fan of these. I would get these again 100%. Next up, let's dig into these brown sugar and mustard glazed ham sliders. These have a cranberry and apple slaw, and they're served on a Hawaiian roll. Now, yes, I will come clean. I did not get the apple slaw on my sliders here. I know, it did have mayo in it, so I could not get it. So I feel like that might affect my experience, but these still look really, really tasty. They're on some Hawaiian rolls, and the Hawaiian rolls are honestly like perfectly toasted. They're very, very soft. It feels like these are gonna be like the perfect pairing for that like mustard glazed ham. Let's try it out here. Now, yes, I have a feeling with the slaw, they will be even better, but without the slaw, I'm a huge fan. The rolls are nice and sweet, of course, that Hawaiian roll. And like I said, it's got that little toast on there, so it adds like a nice little crisp too. But the rest is super soft. And then the ham is glazed in that mustard. It feels like a holiday leftover. Like this is what you make leftover from the holidays. And that's perfect because it's the day after Thanksgiving. So I'm having like holiday leftovers on these little slider buns here. This is really good. We're gonna wash this all down with the beer flight from here. This has a tiramisu stout, a pecan pie hard cider, as well as a pistachio brown ale. It is 11:30 a.m. and I am drinking a beer flight. So not ideal timing, but this happened to be our first stop. So all this beer sounded really, really good. I'm not like a massive beer fan or anything, but they just sounded too interesting to pass up. That's one of the things about Festival of the Holidays. I feel like out of like the festivals, this one has the most interesting beer selections. They always have very Christmassy, almost like sweeter dessert kind of beers. And a lot of them sound really interesting. I have a feeling this is not gonna be our only beer that we try in this video here, because like I said, they're intriguing me as a non-beer drinker. So we're gonna do a quick little taste test here. It does have all of them, the names on this card here, but I'm not really sure what order they're in. So I'm just gonna try it and then I'm gonna guess what it is. It should be easy to tell the difference between these three here. I have a feeling this is gonna be the tiramisu one just by the color of it. Definitely, and wow. Oh my gosh, that does taste like tiramisu. I kind of expected it to just taste like coffee, like a coffee beer, which it definitely has a lot of coffee flavor, but there's also like a little hint of that cream that's in the tiramisu. Oh my gosh. And the smell, it even smells like tiramisu. What the heck is going on? This is actually good. Next up, the center, which I have a feeling is gonna be the pecan pie, pecan cider. Definitely, and wow. It's always amazing how like beers can actually taste like desserts. That's crazy. Definitely tastes like a pecan pie. I'm not like a massive fan. I prefer beer to cider, even though I don't really care for either. I don't really like cider that much, so I probably wouldn't like get that one, just my personal preference. But if you like pecan pie, I mean, it 100% tastes like a pecan pie. Our final one here is gonna be the pistachio nut brown ale. I love pistachio flavored things, so I expect this to be pretty good too. I'm not really getting much pistachio here. This just tastes like a dark beer to me personally. So if I had to choose one to go back to, it's gonna be the tiramisu here. And in case you did get the beer flight, or if you didn't wanna try all three, you can get a small cup of any of these three, or you can get a large cup of any of these three. So if you try the flight and there's one you really like and you wanna go back, you could always go back and get a big cup. And if I had to choose a big cup of one, it would be the tiramisu. We're gonna finish up with our sweets. This is the Bauducco Panettone Holiday Trifle with eggnog custard and cranberry cherry compote. Now, Bauducco is like a recent sponsor of Disney, so I have a very hard time believing that this is actually a favorite from festivals past. There's no way they were using this exact brand of like cake. I don't know. You can't tell me that. Maybe if you're gonna bring it in because they're a sponsor of the festival or something, put it at another booth, but it's weird to me to put it at a favorites of festivals past booth. I just doubt it's actually from a previous festival. Again, I could be wrong though. Let me know in the comments if you remember this ever being around, because I am curious. The cake itself is super dry. The only thing that's helping is that eggnog custard, but I don't think the eggnog really goes with the cherry compote that well. It's very, very tart, hence the face when I first tried it. Super tart. And that cinnamony, like custardy eggnog just does not go with the cherry. Not for me. Well, even though I didn't like that trifle, the two other foods from this booth were phenomenal. I really enjoyed them, and I like the beer flight as well. So overall, favorites of festivals past is a success. Next up, I think I want to head inside of Communicore Hall because I hear that's where they have this Spaceship Earth gingerbread. So I want to go check that out. Let's see what we're working with here, guys. I see our Spaceship Earth in the center. Also, side note, they finally have the Figment Christmas sweater that he wears in the ride. I've been saying they need to get this as an actual piece of merchandise for years, but that is not what we're here for. We're here for this beauty in the center. And I hear every 15 minutes a little show happens with the gingerbread display here, so we're gonna stick around. I think we've got like a minute left before it starts, and I'll show you guys. That was a little bit underwhelming, I'm not gonna lie. I thought a little bit more was gonna happen there, but they just stuck some lights in between the gingerbread, which, by the way, that does not look real. It does not look like real gingerbread, like how like the houses and the like resorts look. Apparently it is though, because they have a sign telling us like how long it took them to make and what they kind of used to make it, but I'm still not convinced. I don't know. It's better than nothing though. Like, I'm glad they added something in here. It's kind of cool. I just expected a little bit more maybe. But right here inside of Communicore Hall, they also have a food stop, only serving up one actual food. They also have a couple drinks as well, like the gingerbread milkshake that's returning. But I wanted to stop in because they have a Spaceship Earth tile gingerbread triangle. We'll try it out. Here it is, the Spaceship Earth tile gingerbread triangle. This thing here cost me $10, and I don't know if you could tell how tiny it is from just this video here, but this is small. Like, this is tiny for $10. It is coated in chocolate on the other side, and then we've got a little bit of icing there, but overall, I feel like this is like a lazy shape for a gingerbread cookie. I know what they're kind of going for, where it's supposed to look like the Spaceship Earth tiles and the triangles on Spaceship Earth, but it doesn't really translate when you just serve it like this. I would have just preferred a gingerbread cookie that's shaped like all of Spaceship Earth. I don't know, it's just weird to just be serving up a triangle here, but maybe it's good. We'll see here. Yeah, absolutely not. This is really not good, guys. It is so dry. It is so cardboard tasting. I do actually like the touch of like chocolate on the end. I think it pairs well with the gingerbread flavor, but overall there's just not enough gingerbread flavor. My plate's flying, it's windy, but this is just like not good gingerbread, especially for $10. And the size, come on. Wouldn't get this again. As much as I don't like that cookie though, I do think this booth wins for possibly the best festival booth name ever, Experimental Prototype Cookies of Tomorrow. That's a good one. I'll give it to him there. I was starting to make my way into the World Showcase when we started passing our next couple of booths, Chestnuts and Good Cheers over here by Figment, and also Nochebuena Cocina, and a couple things on my list from this booth, so we're gonna stop here. Here I decided to try two things, including the plant-based chorizo tamal as well as the pastelón. We're gonna start by trying the pastelón. This has sofrito marinated beef with sweet plantains and olives. This sounds like something that would be right up my alley, and would you guys just look at all that fried cheese on the top? It's nice and crispy too. Ooh, bunch of fried cheese on top, and then we've got all the beef and plantains and olives on the inside. This smells phenomenal when I'm opening that up. I almost dropped it. The cheese on the top there is so thick that I actually had to use a knife to kind of cut through it, but I've got myself a bite here. With a little bit of everything, obviously plenty of cheese. It's literally hanging off the bottom. This smells so good. Let's try it out. This hits like every note. It's cheesy, and then you've got that really well seasoned beef with the olives, so you get a little bit of that like vinegar brininess kind of, and then you've got the sweet from the plantain coming through, and also that fried cheese on the top here. I mean, come on. The fried cheese is obviously gonna be the best part, and all of these flavors just work really, really well together. It's a nice, meaty, hearty dish. This is delicious. Also from Nochebuena Cocina, we have the plant-based chorizo tamal. This has cotija cheese and a spicy red chili sauce, which now that I'm thinking of it, it says it has cotija cheese on top, so I would assume that it's vegan cheese, dairy-free cheese. I don't know, but it doesn't specify that in the description, but it does say this is a plant-based item, and I always like to try a couple of different plant-based things around the festivals because there's usually not that many, so I like to fit one or two here in, and I always tend to like plant-based menu items. Like at the festival, the Food and Wine Festival that was last period, the plant-based mac and cheese was my favorite mac and cheese at the booth. So usually when they do plant-based things at the festival, they're really good. And I've heard from a couple people that this tamale here is good. So we're gonna try it out. This dish here is really surprisingly, mainly because of that spicy red chili sauce on top. I know it says it's spicy, but I just didn't expect it to have as much flavor as it does. It's a little smoky, definitely pretty spicy, but not overly spicy. And then it's also a little bit sweet. I like the ratio of the plant-based chorizo to the corn masa here. I think there's a pretty good ratio. I feel like sometimes with tamales, you get a little bit more like corn masa compared to meat, but that is definitely not the case here. Like I said, that sauce gives it a ton of flavor. Yeah, I definitely enjoy this. And I'd say if you eat a plant-based diet, probably come over here and try this out. On our way into the World Showcase, we came across another booth that I wanted to stop at, the Mele Kalikimaka, the Hawaiian booth. But a lot of things on this menu here sounded really, really good, so we got a couple of different things. We're gonna start with the thing I wanted to try the most, the Kalua pork with Okinawa sweet potatoes and a mango salad. I don't love like American sweet potatoes, but I do love like a Japanese or Hawaiian purple sweet potato. They're always so good, and I think it's gonna be good paired with this pork. Wow, these sweet potatoes here are just delicious, and mainly because they're not super sweet. It's not like your traditional American sweet potato. These are not as sweet. Phenomenal. And when you pair it with that super flavorful pork here, it looks like it would be a little bit dry, but that is just not the case. The combo together, fantastic. This really might go down as one of the best of the fest here. Oh, I can't get over this. I'm with Nate right now, and he's saying that they've had this in previous years, but I don't remember it. I thought this was like a new menu item. I don't know, whatever it was. Highly recommend. We also have this lomi salmon. This has tomatoes, onions, salmon roe, yuzu mayo, and yuca chips. Interesting presentation and concept here, but I dipped my yuca chip in some of that salmon. See how it is. I like the flavor of the green onions in there. It's very heavy on the green onion flavor, but it's just a little bit, like the salmon is a little bit slimy. It's not the best of quality, which I guess I can't expect from a festival booth here. The salmon just isn't the best of quality, and it's also kind of warm. Like, it's not cold. When I have like raw salmon or raw tuna, I want it to be like freezing cold, you know? And this is just like room temperature. I feel like they could have done something else with like this raw salmon. It kind of tastes like, you know what it tastes like? It tastes like ceviche. I'm getting a little bit of lime in there as well. But I feel like they could have done something else with this salmon, whether they make it into like more of like a poke or like a salmon like nacho, kind of like an ahi tuna nacho. I feel like that would have been a little bit better, but pork was definitely better. I am really excited to try this cookie from here. This is the coffee mocha cookie, topped with coffee-infused buttercream, cocoa nibs, and chocolate-covered espresso beans. This cookie here is new to the cookie stroll this year. This is a brand new cookie, and out of all the cookies at the festival, this one sounds the most interesting to me. I love coffee. I love a good chocolate chip cookie, and it honestly looks like a chocolate chip cookie kind of on the bottom, just topped with some of that buttercream there. It's really, really soft. It's kind of like falling apart in my hands a little bit. Ooh, this looks good. Let's try it out. Oh yeah, this is definitely right up my alley. The coffee flavor in this is super strong. If you don't like coffee, don't take that coffee cookie thing lightly. It 100% tastes like bitter coffee. And speaking of bitter, it's not very like overly sweet, which is really, really good. Even the buttercream, I expected it to be a little bit sweeter, but it's not, which I like and appreciate. The cookie itself is a little bit like brown sugary, and like I said, really, really soft. It all works together really well. So far, this is the best sweet treat, best cookie, way better than the gingerbread. We still got a couple more cookies that I want to try that are on my list, but this one's going to be hard to beat. Before we finally make it into the World Showcase, we were walking by the Swirled Showcase, which I had been making the mistake of skipping pretty much every festival. But last festival during Food and Wine, they actually had my favorite dish of the entire festival. So it's time to stop sleeping on the Swirled Showcase. There's something here for this festival I want to get to. This is the holiday Mickey-shaped liquid nitro pop. It's a chocolate cake dipped in ganache made with red and green M&M's milk chocolate. So to make this here cake pop, they take the cake pop, they dip it in some extra chocolate, then they go ahead and dunk it into some red and green M&Ms, and after that, they dip it in the liquid nitrogen, which kind of like freezes it and gets it all to stick, and it just looks crazy. The back isn't that frozen, but the front is very frozen. Let's try it out. This place here really knows their liquid nitrogen desserts. This one's really good. It's very, very chocolatey. For anyone that like loves chocolate, like this is the rich chocolate dessert of your dreams. I'm surprised they didn't try and sneak any type of other flavor in here. Usually I would expect to see some like peppermint, and I actually think some peppermint in here would have been good, a little minty flavor. This is really good. It's not quite as texturally pleasant as the sweet potato one that they had for Food and Wine. That was just absolutely insane. It's still really, really good though. It's just a little bit hard to eat, but still really good, really rich. Now I think I need to go find a water because this is making me thirsty. Well, with that, we have finally officially made it into the World Showcase. It took a while, but we hadn't even made it here, and we've already tried so many amazing foods from the festival so far. So many things I've really, really enjoyed. And like I said, at the end, I'm gonna give you guys like a top 5 list, my top 5 things of the festival, and my bottom 3 or 5 things. We'll see how it goes. And already, we have a lot of contenders. So as we're going around here, I want to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comments what you want to try the most from this festival. What looks the best to you that I try? And while you guys are doing that, I'm going to start to make my way towards Mexico, our first stop in the World Showcase. I have just picked up my food from Mexico, and I just want to take this time to acknowledge all of the free empty space that is over here by the Mexico booth that is not filled with a table or anywhere to eat your food. So if you look just over there, for this entire booth, there are 4 standing tables right there. And then you have all of this empty space. Look, Look at all the picnic tables that could be right here. All of the standing tables that could be right here, right here, right here, right here. Where do they want us to eat? This is one of the most popular booths for every festival. And you mean to tell me you got 4 tables for people to eat at? And I know the whole thing is you eat on a trash can, which I've resorted to my only option here. But doesn't Disney think at some point that like it looks bad to have people just standing around their park eating on trash cans? Like, I just don't get why we can't have tables. I will say it every festival because honestly, it's annoying. And I'm sure a lot of you guys feel my pain as well. Just give us tables. I know that you probably have so many just sitting backstage, right? Literally, probably right back there. Just put them out here. We do have a bunch of things to try here at the Mexico Pavilion. I want to start with this coconut guavarita. This has Blanco tequila, coconut water, guava cream, a hint of lime rum, and orange liqueur with a toasted coconut rim. We've got to get to this one here first because it's starting to separate. And I actually want to kind of whip out my satchel fork here. You guys know I always got them on deck. But I want to give it a stir just already because it's separated a little bit. I want to make sure we get a proper taste of this here guavarita. Wow, just from the forkful. It tastes really good, guys. This might be too early to call this, but there's a very good chance this is the drink of the festival. It is fruity, but not too fruity, and it is so strong, just like all of the drinks in the Mexico Pavilion. I love the guava and that coconutty kind of flavor. This isn't like your typical like margarita. It's more of like a mixed cocktail. So if you're not a margarita person, like there's a really good chance you would like this. I feel like my mom would like it, but maybe not because it might be a little too strong from her. I love the touch of the coconut shavings on the rim there. It's different. They're switching things up from the usual salt. And it's a really good touch. The one thing I will say about this drink here though, it's not necessarily very Christmassy or very holiday. It doesn't give me, holiday vibes. I feel like this would be the perfect drink for like the Flower and Garden Festival for the springtime or the summer. This would hit different in the summer because it's so fruity and refreshing. But man, guys, this is really good. Maybe they'll bring it back. Maybe they'll bring it back for the festival, Flower and Garden Festival or Food and Wine Festival because it's popular and so good. I hope you guys come and try this because wow. Yeah, I could get behind it. On to some food here though, starting with the empanada de pollo. This is a fried corn tortilla filled with chipotle chicken and potatoes, topped with chili roja salsa, crema mexicana, and queso fresco. Ever since I brought this food over to the trash can, I have just been staring at this empanada here because it looks so good. It looks a little bit smaller, not necessarily smaller, but like thinner than I think it probably should be, but it looks delicious. Let's try it out. Yeah, to no surprise, I am a big fan of this empanada here. When I first bit down, it is just so crunchy, and the first thing that hits you is that really good red salsa on the outside. It is just loaded with flavor. It's not spicy if you're worried about spice. It does look like it could be spicy, but trust me, it's not. You've got that freshly fried corn tortilla with all of that filling inside, but again, it's definitely very like thin. It's a thin empanada. Like this is a tiny empanada in terms of filling. It's definitely not an empanada that's gonna kind of fill you up. It's a good snack, but I feel like there could be a bit more filling in there. Guys, I just looked it up. This is $8. So unfortunately, it is not worth it at all. This is not $8 worth of empanada here, but as awful as a value as it is so good. There's one more food here from Mexico though. This is the tamal de puerco con mole. It has shredded pork in corn masa, topped with mole negro, queso fresco, crema mexicana, slivered almonds, and sesame seeds. So we had the plant-based tamale earlier, and now we're at this one with the pork. And I will tell you, oh my gosh, where's the pork at? Remember how earlier with that plant-based chorizo tamale, I was like, this is a great ratio of filling to masa. It is the exact opposite here. There is almost no pork in this tamale. Look at that. It's all masa. It is literally like all, not a good sign. It's just falling apart. I can't even get it all on the fork. Okay, let's see. The sauce is smoky, really, really smoky actually. I'm definitely getting those chocolate hints from the mole, but this literally just tastes like corn masa with a little bit of a smoky mole sauce on top. There is no pork in this. And this was like, hold on, I need to check how much this was. I think it was like $9.50, something around there. That's insane for the tiny amount of pork that you get in here. I know I said the empanada was tiny, but like, and not worth it, but this is an even worse value here. At least the empanada tasted good. This is just a little disappointing. Wouldn't recommend. Right across from Mexico in the Odyssey Pavilion is where they have the holiday hearth desserts. They have a bunch of different sweets in here. I'm not seeing anything really different than what they had last year. It's pretty much all the same. I remember last year I tried a couple of the things here. I really liked the salted caramel Spaceship Earth cookie. That was really good. I know I didn't care for the mint chocolate mousse wreath, but I also loved the apple caramel crumb cake from last year, and it's back this year. That is really good. So those are my recommendations here. But I think I'm going to skip this booth this time around because, like I said, nothing's really changed. And I tried everything I wanted to try last year. So we're going to continue on. I think our next stop should be China. During the Food and Wine Festival a few months ago, I had some dishes I despised from China. They really were not good. But this year, for the Festival of the Holidays, some of this stuff looked really, really good. So I decided to give the China booth another try. We've got 2 foods to try and 1 beverage. Beverage is coming first because it is filled to the tippy top. It's gonna spill everywhere. This is the lychee martini. It has vodka, lychee syrup, and vermouth. Now, I absolutely love a good lychee martini. Matter of fact, I sat right inside that restaurant just about a month or 2 ago, and I said, I wish you were able to get this like to go, because I don't think they serve lychee martinis anywhere in the China Pavilion where you can kind of just like walk around with it. I don't think they have it at like the stand or anything. So did they listen to me? I don't know. They might have been watching my videos, because now we've got a lychee martini here at the Festival of the Holidays. I still wish they would add it to one of the permanent stands so you could get it all the time, but let's see if it's the same. I enjoyed it in there. Let's see if it's just as good. Sweet, great lychee flavor, really tasty. However, I taste no alcohol in this whatsoever, and I love a good strong but sweet lychee martini. In the restaurant, I don't know if that's just happened to be when I got it, but it was super, super strong. But I always appreciate when a drink is strong. I want to taste my alcohol, especially when I'm spending $14.50 on this very tiny beverage here. But I'll tell you, it's still really tasty. If you like a not so strong tasting sweet drink, this is the one for you. Although I think $14.50 for this size is a little crazy, unfortunately, but tastes good. Well, speaking of ripoffs, here we have the XO fried rice. This has Chinese sausage, onion, green onion, mushroom, egg, and a house-made Hong Kong XO chili sauce for $9.75. Is that the house-made chili sauce they're talking about right there? Because if so, I don't even think they put an entire scoop on here. There's literally one piece of like fried garlic just in the center. So where's the chili sauce? Unfortunate, because this not only sounds really good, it looks really tasty as well. It just looks like a very, very small portion for almost $10. This is legit, guys. I'm not even kidding you. Again, I think the camera is not doing justice just how tiny this is. This is like a half of a scoop of rice for almost $10. This better be pretty damn good for $9.75. Trying to get a piece with like a bite with a bunch of that sausage too. I mean, it's certainly, you know, it tastes good. It tastes like fried rice. I like that Chinese sausage in here a lot. However, I only got 2 tiny triangles of that Chinese sausage, and I already ate both bites with it. Oh, actually, excuse me, sorry. We have a third little piece of Chinese sausage in here. Flavors on point. It tastes like some pretty solid fried rice. It does have a little bit of a kick. Maybe they're mixing that chili crunch oil kind of in with the fried rice. Flavor's good, but for $9.75, it's unfortunately a pass for me. I would never get this again or recommend it because it's just way too expensive for the price. For the portion, I mean. Finally, from China, we have the beef noodle soup bowl. This has slow braised beef shank with green onions and a house-made chili oil for another expensive price, $9.50. But I mean, at least this one here has a ton of noodles. Not a lot of broth in here, actually, at all. For them to be calling this a noodle soup is kind of crazy because it feels just like stir-fry noodles. There are 3 pieces of this beef, which looks to be pretty fatty. Let's try out the beef first. Nice and tender. Nice and fatty. Also, it said this was supposed to have chili oil. It does not, unless it's, again, mixed in with everything here. Let's get to some of these noodles. Nice and soft egg noodles. They're at a good thickness. I like these noodles, the thickness of these noodles. In the past, they've used actual spaghetti noodles at the China booth for festivals, and that always makes me very upset. These are actually like Chinese noodles that they're using, so there's that. Overall, the only flavor that I'm getting is a little bit of like a Szechuan pepper. The noodles don't have enough flavor to them because there's just not enough broth. Neither does the beef. I mean, the beef is cooked well. Like I said, it's nice and tender, nice and fatty. But overall, there's just not enough flavor on this dish here for me. Very unfortunate day for the China booth. You know, I really like that fried rice. It's just unfortunate that it was so expensive. I just can't get over the price. Like the empanada, although it was very expensive as well, at least the flavor kind of really put it over the edge for me. So I would consider getting that again. The fried rice, although good, it just wasn't great. It wasn't at that level to where I could ever justify the price. And the beef noodle soup, just not enough flavor. So unfortunate day. The China booth just needs to lower the prices. It's way too expensive. All right, we're moving along to Germany, where I have another challenge for you guys. I need you guys to let me know when the last time the Germany booth for any festival has had a new menu item, because I feel like they have the exact same menu items every festival, every year. Germany is like my favorite stop here for the Festival of the Holidays though, so I am gonna get all this stuff. It's too good to pass up, but I'm expecting to see a long line there. There's usually a really long line. But I was actually getting way ahead of myself. I forgot, here at the Refreshment Outpost, they actually have a beer that I really want to try. Look at that, Crooked Can Brewing Company Creme Brulee Lager. I gotta try it. I told you guys there were gonna be more beers that I wanted to try, those weird kind of dessert beers, and this was one of the ones on the top of my list. I love creme brulee, and I also love Crooked Can Brewery. That's a local brewery right here in Winter Garden, Florida. It's only like 20 minutes behind the Magic Kingdom, but I love going to the Crooked Can. It is such a fun vibe, such an awesome brewery, and they have some great beers. I've never tried this creme brulee beer before though. It looks very dark. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it. Let's try it though. Wow. I don't know how creme brulee like this necessarily tastes, but I'll tell you, as soon as I kind of like put it up to my face to take a sip, I smelled it, and it smells like, it smells even better than it tastes. Not that it tastes bad. It tastes pretty good actually. I don't think it tastes like creme brulee though. And unfortunately they did only serve this in like the really big size of beer in like a full pint glass. So I did have to get the full one. Usually at like the festival booths you could get like the tinier cups for a little bit less money, but that wasn't an option at the Refreshment Outpost. Had to get the full one. And for me, these dark beers, I can never drink like that much of them. So I wish they did sell it in a smaller size because I think it's quite tasty, but not creme brulee like. Yeah. No creme brulee. It almost tastes a little orangey, citrusy. I don't know. Not bad though. It'll definitely come in really handy while I wait in this very, very long line for Germany. I feel like no one's at the other booths and everyone's just here in Germany, but I'm gonna sip on my beverage while I hop in line. The clean sweep has occurred here in Germany. We got one of every food. Like I said, it's always the same thing every single year. They never change it up, but I guess that's good because it is always just so good. Both the cheese fondue, or all three, the cheese fondue, the schnitzel, and the Linzer, always kill it every year. The cheese fondue here is served in a bread bowl with steamed baby vegetables and marbled potatoes, and I'm gonna start with that. Before I show you guys my little hack that I, again, do every single year, let's just get some of this cheesy goodness here first. Oh my God, that cheese is just so smooth, and it's getting windy, so it's just flying everywhere. I missed it so much, guys. It just has this almost beer or wine type of flavor. It's a very, very strong kind of cheese, a very sharp cheese. It just works perfectly with the bread they give you. I take my cheese fondue very, very seriously, and this is the best cheese fondue I have ever had, which is crazy because they're whipping it up from a tiny kitchen in a festival booth right back there. But seriously, once you try this, you will understand. It's everything you want in a fondue. You've got the sharp cheese. It's so nice and melty. And you've got just like the perfect accompaniments. I also love dipping the potatoes in this and getting a bite that way. But there's something even better that I do. You gotta get the pork schnitzel and dip it in the cheese fondue too. So here is the pork schnitzel. It has a mushroom sauce, spatzel, and braised red cabbage. And this pork schnitzel, it's amazing on its own, but when you dip it in this cheese fondue, I'm telling you guys, You gotta do it. You guys gotta come here, try this. Get the schnitzel, get the fondue, dip the schnitzel in the fondue, and thank me later. You know, I really have had a ton of great food at this Festival of the Holidays, but every year, this just can't be outdone. It's the best bite of the festival, year after year. Get both. I'm telling you guys, if you do, comment and let me know how you like it. I swear it's so good. We're ending with a sweet. Of course, we had to get the hazelnut Linzer cookie. I don't remember. Does this always have hazelnuts in it? I can't remember. But I don't know if it's a little different. But we've got the king of the Linzer here, Nate.
The king of the Linzer.
The king of the Linzer. Was it good? Was it like as good as last year?
I lost my plate, so I'm just walking around picking at it out of a napkin.
Is it always hazelnut? Is it different this year, or is it the same as every time?
I don't know what tastes like hazelnut. Where's the hazelnut?
I feel like it's in the cookies. I see a little bit of like gritty, maybe nuts in the cookie itself. I don't know.
I like it.
Smacking them lips right in my ear here. Must be good. That's a sign.
Got the cookie taste.
Really good, but I will still never forgive you for eating all the Linzers that you brought me when you came home from Christmas last year.
From the Manuka Bakery.
Him, Sean, and our friend Jason drove back from Pennsylvania to Florida, and Nate specifically brought me Linzer cookies, and they all ate them in the car.
All. They didn't survive the drive. They're so good, so pillowy and soft.
This is a good replacement for now. Well, you guys know what is after Germany. Of course, the Italy booth. Usually I get every single thing on the Italy menu because it is just always so bad. I need to see how bad it actually is. However, this year for Festival of the Holidays, they brought back the same menu that they had last year that I did not hate. They have like fried dough. So they do like a sweet fried dough, and then they also do a savory fried dough. And it's nothing special, but it's also not bad. Like it could be a lot worse. It's out of all of the food that they have at the Italy booth for any of the festivals, this is like one of the better offerings. And since it hasn't changed up from last year, I think I'm gonna skip it, especially because it's starting to rain. I wanna kind of finish my lap around quickly because in case this weather sticks around. So while we were making our way through Italy to our next stop, which is gonna be here in America, I noticed there was a really long line for the candlelight processional. I was like, there must be someone really good in town. Sure enough, Josh Gad is in town this evening. I should have known because I've seen photos of him around the parks with like cast members and stuff. But yeah, Josh Gad is here for candlelight tonight. They always have certain celebrities in town to narrate the candlelight processional. So always kind of check what dates and who's gonna be here if you guys are interested in seeing that. But we're not going to watch tonight. I'm here for the food, and our next stop for food is going to be America. Now, here in America, for this festival, they pretty much have the same thing every year. They have turkey dinner and a catfish. And the turkey dinner I've had, it's pretty good, also really good value. But they have this catfish every year, and I've never tried it. And I've also never seen or heard anyone talk about it. So I was like, this is the year. I gotta try this out. It comes back year after year, so it must be good. So here we have the blackened catfish with Hoppin' John, whoever John is, and comeback sauce. So I just can't believe this has been on the menus for so long. Like I said, every year it's here, and I've just never tried it. We'll break into this fish here. It looks to be pretty flaky and well cooked and well seasoned as well. It is definitely that. Nice and soft. I could use a tad bit more seasoning, but overall, the flavor is really nice. And then we've got this rice underneath. Cooked perfectly, very flavorful. You could tell that instead of cooking this rice in like water, they actually cooked it in chicken broth because it has a ton of flavor. And I'm sure the flavor from this, is this Hoppin' John? They said Hoppin' John was on this. What's Hoppin' John?
Who's Hoppin' John?
That's what I asked. But I guess it's like collard greens. It looks like maybe some black-eyed peas and collard greens combo. Is that Hoppin' John? I don't know, but it looks good. And the flavor that's seeping into the rice is delicious, so I'm sure this is gonna be good. I love collard greens. I actually just recently went to a local soul food spot and had some amazing collard greens. Probably some of the best I've ever had over in Davenport. It was a really good spot. And these collard greens are really good as well. Like I said, super flavorful. The flavor seeps into that rice really nicely. You know what this could use though? A little hot sauce. Some hot sauce on this would hit different, but even without, man, this is a really good combo here. This is like a full meal, and I think it was like a little over $6. Man, good portion, good little snack here. I would definitely get this again. I'm just so glad I finally came around to trying that dish from America. We still have 1 or 2 things on my list that are like repeat items that are here every year that are like favorites that I have never tried before. So we're definitely going to get them. But next up is a stop at Japan for some brand new menu items. We've got a little beverage here from Japan, as well as some dessert, a mochi donut. Let's start with our beverage, the chocolate nigori. This is a creamy texture of nigori sake and rich sweetness and gentle bitterness from chocolate. That's the description. This was poured straight out of the bottle like a sake bottle, and I gotta admit, from the description, it did not sound like it was just like a bottled cocktail, and I thought it was like an actual mixed cocktail, but it should be like chocolate sake. It reminds me a lot of like Mozart, like the Mozart chocolate liqueur that they have in Germany. Let's see how this is though. This whipped cream is just gonna get like right on my face here, right on my nose. That's exactly what it is. Chocolate sake. It's very hard to drink with this whipped cream on top. But yeah, it's chocolate sake. So that's fun. I mean, if you like Mozart, I recommend you come try this out. It's fun. I don't know. I've never seen anything like this. The decoration is cute, but it just gets in the way, kind of. Well, on to dessert. Technically, we have 2 desserts in the chocolate sake and this mochi donut here. This is a mochi donut wrap. It's a soft, chewy fusion pastry served with strawberry, whipped cream, strawberry sauce, and a sweet red bean, wrapped with rice cake sheet. I've had mochi and mochi donuts before, and I just love the texture, which was why I was so interested in trying this. But I've never had anything like this, and I didn't really expect it. It's literally like a layer of rice paper over a mochi donut. The presentation is lacking a little bit. There's literally just like a single strawberry on top, and I think it was supposed to have whipped cream as well. At least that's what it says in the description. But you know what? The whipped cream is under this rice paper. Let's see here. I can't even get it off the plate. It's kind of stuck. Oh my gosh. The red bean was kind of just in the center of the donut. Okay, I'll pick up this donut here and then I'll get a bite with the red bean. Texturally, 10 out of 10. I just love the texture of mochi and even like rice cakes. I love that texture there. But it's kind of plain on its own. You definitely need the red bean and strawberry from the center to kind of pair with everything together there. It's like a Japanese jelly donut. That's what I would kind of compare it to. The red beans in there, nice and sweet. And again, this texture is just to die for. The rice cake, the rice sheet on top is just such an interesting move that I've never seen before. And it just adds to that amazing texture. So I like it. The L'Chaim booth is up next, where again, they pretty much have the same thing every single year. They've got the potato pancakes, the pastrami on rye, they've got the black and white cookies, and they also have the rugula. Every year you hear people talking about the potato pancakes, the pastrami. The black and white cookie is one of the more popular cookies at this festival, but you never hear anyone talking about the rugula. And for as many times as I have come to this festival, I've never tried it. So we're gonna try something, again, that is always on the menu, that I've never tried, so I'm excited to see how it is. Guys, we picked it up, and I must admit, this looks really good. This is the rugula. It's a pastry filled with raspberry jam, walnuts, and cinnamon. See how it is. I love the crunchy nuts in there, and shockingly, the nuts pair really well with the raspberry. It's weird. I was kind of wondering how they were gonna play off each other. It sounds a little strange, but it works. It reminds me a little bit of a croissant, the pastry itself. Do you see all those like flaky layers there? It's like a croissant. Almost. Just a little like more cookie-like. A cookie croissant, I would say. It's like a cross between both. But then you've got that filling in there, and it's quite good. Okay, so I made my way over to France after that rugula here, and I was planning on getting some food, specifically this ham dish here. But then my friend sent me a photo of her ham dish, and the math ain't mathin'. So, like literally, France, what's going on with this? Disney, please, this needs to be fixed, but it's not the same thing. But they do have a Festival of the Holidays classic right down there, that frozen hot chocolate martini. This is like the greatest festival drink of all time. There's There are a few things better than this frozen hot chocolate martini, and the line's not long here in France. I can't pass up the opportunity to get it. It's been too long. Here is the frozen hot chocolate martini. This has vodka, chocolate milk, and whipped cream. Reunited, and I've never been happier. Oh, I don't know what it is about this drink, but France knows how to do a frozen drink in a martini glass, and this is no different, although this is not very frozen. I think they're probably running through them so quickly and they're selling so many of them because it is opening day and it's such a popular drink. But this is, in fact, not frozen. It just tastes like a chocolate martini, but a good one at that. And honestly, I'm kind of glad it's not frozen. I am freezing out here. In the last 30 minutes, it's gotten so chilly, so it kind of works out. But between this frozen hot chocolate martini and the Germany booth, those are my go-tos every single year. And although I get it every year, it's so good, and I don't know when I'm going to be coming back to the festival, so I figured I had to come try it out. Not try it out, because I already know I've tried it so many times, but seriously, you guys gotta come get this if you never have, or if you have, come get it again. We're taking this hot chocolate martini on the move. I think I've got it in me for one final stop, guys. For my final food of the Festival of the Holidays 2024, I have decided to get the turkey poutine from the refreshment port. This is another food that, honestly, it makes a lot of people's favorite list year after year. It's always here. And somehow I've never tried it. Actually, I think I know how, because probably I always make my way around through Mexico like I did this time around. They're going crazy back there. But I make my way around through Mexico, and by the time I get there, I'm so full. This time I prepared for it. I had it on my list, and I saved some space, just a tiny bit of space left in my stomach to finally get this poutine. This is the turkey poutine. It has sweet potato fries with turkey gravy, cranberry relish, and crispy onions. And can I just tell you that this thing is absolutely ginormous. This weighs 3 to 4 pounds right here. It is a crazy amount of food. We've got that turkey piled high on those sweet potato fries. There's a ton of fries. There is a ton of turkey. There's also cheese curds, which they didn't add to the description there. The only thing there's not a lot of is that cranberry. I love cranberry with my turkey, so I wish there was a little bit more on here, but it looks delicious. Let's see. I can't believe I'm saying this, but as much as I love cheese curds, I feel like they do not belong on this dish here. The rest, amazing. I want to get a bite here without the cheese curd, because that's throwing me off. Cheese curd with turkey and sweet potato and cranberry, it doesn't go. I don't think, at least. Let's see if it's a little bit better without that curd here. That is that Thanksgiving flavor that I was looking for. The turkey with the sweet potato. I love kind of mixing everything on my fork together, during Thanksgiving. I love the way it all tastes together, and that's pretty much this. The cheese curds do not belong, but that's okay. I will just eat them on their own. But overall, I really love this. I would maybe ask them to hold the cheese curds next time, but that's about it. And guys, this is our final thing. We tried 27 things at this festival, and out of recent festivals, I cannot recall liking this many things. Usually at the festivals, you have so many hits and so many misses. Usually there are way more misses than hits. And this year during Festival of the Holidays, it's the opposite way around. So while we're kind of here just finishing up the last bites of our poutine, I figured it was time to go over our worst of the fest and our best of the fest. So let's start with the worst, and then we'll kind of work our way up. I think personally the worst thing that I ate today, the only thing that I was actually this is disgusting, was the Spaceship Earth tile gingerbread cookie. That was a really awful gingerbread cookie. It was so dry, it was so cardboard, it had no gingerbread flavor whatsoever. There are way better cookies at this festival to get, like that mocha one that we tried from the Mele Kalikimaka booth, the rugula, as well as that Linzer cookie. Those are all so much better. I would skip the Spaceship Earth gingerbread, although it is kind of a novelty. Another thing I didn't care for was the tamale from Mexico. The pork to corn masa ratio was way off, especially for the price. I can't get behind it. Speaking of price, that XO fried rice, although it was not bad by any means, it was not bad fried rice. For the price of it, I Cannot recommend that dish ever, and simply because of the price, $9.75 for 1 scoop of rice, it's a no for me. I also didn't care for the Lomi Lomi salmon from the Mele Kalikimaka booth. I didn't like the combination of the salmon with the tomatoes. I did not think it went, and it didn't taste very Hawaiian to me. The warm salmon didn't sit right. I could have done without it. Last thing I didn't really care for was the holiday trifle from the Favorites of Festivals Past booths with the eggnog cream and the cherry. None of the flavors really meshed together for me personally. It wasn't like awful and inedible by any means, but it just wasn't my favorite. But the Favorites of Festivals Past booth also has some of my favorite things from the festival. So let's get into my top 5, but I actually just made the list and I think it's going to be a little bit longer than 5 because I liked a lot of things. So we'll start with the Favorites of Festivals Past booth. I loved those Reuben croquettes. Those were literally to die for. I could have eaten like 10 of them back to back. They were that good. All the flavors combined in that crispy outer shell, delicious. I also really loved those ham sliders, those brown sugar and mustard glazed ham sliders from that booth as well. Those were so good on that sweet Hawaiian roll, even without the slaw. Amazing. I'm also throwing the entire Germany booth on this list. Every year, it's a favorite. And I can't even just pick one thing from that menu. The Linzer cookie, the cheese fondue, and the pork schnitzel are all killer must-gets at the festival. Even if the line is long like it was for me, it's worth the wait. The pastelone from the booth actually right behind me here was amazing as well. We started off really, really hot. The beef with those olives and the sweet plantains and that fried cheese on top. Real good. Right across the way from here, we had the Kahlua pork with the sweet potato. Oh, another really good one. That's top of the list for me, and we're gonna round it out. You won't believe this, but the chicken empanada from the Mexico booth, like I said, ridiculously overpriced. But if you're gonna charge me that price for an empanada, it better taste exactly like that one. I go crazy for that salsa that they use, that like, it's almost like a little bit like creamy. I don't know. It is really, really good. Overpriced, but it's worth it. We also had some really good drinks at that festival, from the frozen hot chocolate martini to the tiramisu beer to that guava Rita from Mexico. All really, really good. Overall, I am just so impressed with the food at this year's Festival of the Holidays, which I am so surprised about, because when I saw the menus, I was really, really upset because I was like, it's all the same thing. I felt like there just weren't enough new things, but the new things that they added were delicious. And some of the old things that stuck around on the menus that I've just never gotten to try before were really good as well. The catfish, some of the cookies, I like the mocha cookie from here, the arugula, turkey poutine. I mean, the list goes on and on. There were some really great things at this festival. So thanks for hanging with me. Hopefully you guys get a chance to make it here in the next month or so for the Festival of the Holidays. And hopefully this video kind of helps you plan out what you're gonna eat. So thank you so much for watching. Also, I wanna thank everyone that came up and said hi to me today. I met so many of you guys and I really appreciate you coming up and saying hi. If you see me in the parks, please make sure you say hi. But yeah, it was nice meeting a lot of you guys today, and special shout out to my Patreon subscribers. I met some of you guys today as well, so thanks a lot for that. And to any of you guys who might not be subscribed already, if you enjoy honest Disney food reviews, I am always going to give them to you. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.